Hi everybody and welcome back to Meals of the Week. So today's Monday and we're going to have a really easy dinner tonight. We're going to be having baked potatoes, Ayla's going to have beans on hers and I'm going to have cheese on mine. I've already poked some holes into the potatoes so they don't explode, and I'm going to put them into the microwave for about 8 minutes and then check on them. If they need longer, I'll give them a little bit longer. Once they're finished in the microwave, I've put them onto a baking tray, give them a drizzle of oil and also sprinkled some salt on top. I'm going to put these in the oven now for about 10-15 minutes to crisp up. Once the potatoes are almost finished, I'm going to heat up Ayla's beans, as these only take a few minutes. And this is everything now that it is plated up. Here's Ayla, so she just wanted beans, she didn't even want any butter on hers, so she's just got baked beans on top of a jacket potato with some cucumber, and then I've got butter and cheese on mine. And this is what we had for tea tonight. For tea tonight I'm going to be making a homemade toad in the hole. So I've never attempted this before and I hope these sausages will go well with it, as I haven't got any others. It says that you need a metal high-sided baking tray. Well, the only high-side dish that I've got is ceramic, so hopefully this one will be okay. I did end up going for this dish instead. The sausages weren't fitting in the other one properly, even though I've cut them in half, so hopefully this one is still deep enough. On a high heat, I'm just going to put these into the oven for about 10 minutes and get on with the Yorkshire pudding batter. In this jug I've got some flour, 3 eggs and a pinch of salt. I'm going to mix this into a paste and then add in my milk and water slowly. This is how the batter looks once everything is mixed together. The next part ended up being cut out, my phone just shut down, so you don't get to see me finishing this, but all I did was pour the batter onto the sausages whilst the tray was still hot and then put it back into the oven. Around 20 to 25 minutes. I did turn the heat down to gas mark 6. I've made some homemade little potatoes here and seasoned them. I was going to make it with mash, but I couldn't be bothered if I'm quite honest, so I'm going to have little roasties instead. Now that the onions have caramelised, I've just added in my ready-made gravy. I just made it with gravy granules and hot water and then added it into the onions. And this is how the toad in the hole has turned out. I think it's pretty good for a first attempt. I was a little bit worried that the bottom might not have been cooked, but it is, so I'm going to get on now with dishing it up. This is it now. I've plated everything up. This one is Ayla's plate, so she has the onion gravy, her little roast potatoes, the toad in the hole, which I'm going to cut up to make it easier for her to eat, and then also some carrot. And then this plate is mine. I've just got a slice of the toad in the hole with some roast potatoes and gravy. And this is what we had for our tea tonight. Today's Wednesday. I'm going to have something nice and easy. We are going to have this quiche Lorraine with some homemade chips. I've already peeled my potatoes ready, so all I need to do now is cut these up and season them. Now that the chips have been cut up, I've drizzled them with some oil and I've seasoned them with salt, pepper, paprika and some mixed herbs. These are now going to go into the air fryer for about 15 to 20 minutes. And cooking the quiche is really easy. It just needs to go onto a baking tray and into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. I also picked up this whipped feta dip out of Sainsbury's the other day and I thought it would go really nice with some veggies, so I'm going to do this for Ayla. She can dip her veggies in it. And this is what it looks like when everything is all plated up. Ayla's got some quiche, chips, this little bruschetta thing she wanted to try, veggie sticks and this whipped feta dip that I've also sprinkled on some everything but the bagel seasoning. And then for mine, I've just got the quiche chips with a little bit of mayonnaise. And this is what I had for tea tonight. Today for tea, I'm going to be making these ham and cheese tortellinis. I've had these in my fridge for quite a while now and thought I'd best make them before they end up going out of date. And then to go with it, we're going to have these garlic bruschetta squares. I'm also going to be making a little bit of sauce with this double cream. To start off with, I'm going to put my garlic bread into the air fryer for about 10 minutes. For the sauce, I'm going to start off with some garlic puree in a pan along with some butter, and I'm going to melt these down for a few minutes. Once the butter has melted and they've both been cooking for a few minutes, I'm going to add in the whole tub of double cream. I'm going to let this warm through before adding in some Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper and some mixed herbs. I've already boiled my kettle so the water's hot. This only takes about 5 minutes to cook this pasta, with it already being fresh. This is how it looks when everything is finished. All I did with the sauce is just pour it over the top, and then we've both got our bruschetta squares, which I cut into triangles to make it easier to eat. And this is what we had for tea tonight. Today's Friday, and for tea we are going to be having BBQ Chicken Fajitas. So I already have this kit and it has everything in it other than your veg and your meat. I've got a red pepper, some chicken breast fillets, I do also have a red onion. I've chopped up the veg. Ayla doesn't like her veg cooked, so what I'm going to do with it is it's just going to be lightly seared in a pan, and then that way it isn't going to be too soggy. In a pan, I've just got my chicken breast fillets with a little bit of oil, and I'm just going to cook these through. I did also cut them into smaller strips to help them cook. Once the chicken is cooked, I'm going to add in the barbecue seasoning mix that came in the pack. The red pepper and the onion, I have added on the seasoning mix, and I'm just going to cook this for about 30 seconds to a minute so that the veg stays crunchy. This is how it looks once everything is finished. This plate is Ayla's. She has also got some cucumber and a little bit of garlic dip, and these are her wraps. This plate's mine. It's not as exciting. I just have a couple of wraps and a little bit of sauce. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Meals of the Week, guys. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.